Hi everybody, I'm a soul therapist and an intuitive that connects with the angelic energy. And today I want to talk about the greatest miracle of my life. And here's why you want to watch this video, because I feel like to hear stories of other miracles is really important, because we can forget how much magic there is in this world, and we can forget how much we are being held and carried all the time. And I think that there are some really important lessons in this really miraculous and amazing story that I have for you. So my miracle started on a regular day in my life, and I have twin boys, and one of my boys, Sawyer, woke up with diarrhea, and he was really sick, really struggling that morning. Kept going, but I honestly hadn't been too concerned, just because I thought it was just diarrhea. I thought he had a little bit of a stomach bug, and I didn't think a whole lot of it. And as the day progressed and I came into work, and his dad just noticed that this just kept happening and happening, and we ended up taking him to the doctor, and that led to us being sent to the emergency room. And really quickly, and really to my surprise, we were that night being sent to a children's hospital about 2 hours away. It was called Geisinger Medical Center, and we were just sent on this ambulance 2 hours away. And suddenly I'm in this place of, oh my gosh, my little 7-year-old boy is in the hospital, and we don't really understand why he has this diarrhea and why he is struggling so much with stomach related things. But all of a sudden things bumped up, things got really serious. Suddenly we're being sent away to this children's hospital, and nobody really has any answers for what's going on. But still, honestly, I didn't take it terribly seriously. I didn't think that we were moving in any kind of a scary direction. I just thought, okay, they're gonna rehydrate him, they're gonna find some kind of medication that's gonna settle his stomach, and we'll be home in the next couple days, no big deal. And so a couple days progressed, and things seemed like they were getting worse. And they still didn't have any kind of a diagnosis yet, and things continued to develop. Eventually, they did have a diagnosis, and it was E. coli. And they basically said, we have to just let this thing play itself out. We have to just let this thing run its course. And as it ran its course, it was really difficult to watch, because my poor child was in so much pain, and really, I'll spare you some of the really challenging details, but he was just in a lot of pain, and it was difficult to watch, and day in and day out, really struggling. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, one of the abilities that I have is to connect with angels and to see angels. And I could see angels in the room with us, and I could see angels standing around him, but he wasn't getting any better. And at that point, I was really struggling with my faith. I was really frustrated, and actually caught myself yelling at the angels, saying, why aren't you helping him? Why aren't you doing anything? Why isn't this getting any better? Why are we still here? And people were starting to take notice that I was away, that I was in the hospital. I had posted about it on Facebook and things like that, and we were starting to get all kinds of prayers and all kinds of support. But this is where things got really scary. Is one morning, the doctors came in, and it was a group of probably 15 to 20 doctors just in this tiny hospital room with us. And they sat me down, and they said, listen, we have to talk to you about what his situation has progressed into. And they shared with me that his sickness, his illness, had developed into a very serious situation, a very serious illness called HUS. And what HUS involved was basically his kidneys were shutting down. They started to talk with me, and my head was just absolutely spinning as they're talking about the possibility of him going into a coma, and the possibility that we could lose him. And the doctor who is sharing this with me has tears in her eyes as she's sharing this with me, and is going through all of the really scary possibilities of where this thing could go. And all of their faces were looking afraid, and nobody was looking at me saying this is going to be okay. And in fact, they said to me, we need to cover all of the ways that this could go wrong, all of the ways that this could go bad, because this could shift and change really quickly, and this could get bad very, very quickly, and this is very serious. And so within a very short period of time, my child was intubated, so he had a tube down his throat, and was getting a port for dialysis and receiving dialysis, and incredibly sick. And his levels were coming back in the labs not very good, and it was getting scarier and scarier and scarier. And it's hard for me to even tell you guys this story without crying, because there was a day that I remember taking his picture, and because I wasn't sure that he was going to make it another day. And one of the miracles that existed within this was that the community that I have around me and the people that I have around me were so incredible, and I could just feel the prayers that were coming. And as I was sharing what was going on, people were really, really showing up, and people put together a GoFundMe account and were just sharing it all over the place, and everyone was reaching out telling me how they were praying, and people were showing up at the hospital. And actually that day that I took that picture, and was probably the worst day that we had there, I got a message from one of my friends and asking me to come down to the cafeteria. And so I came down to the cafeteria, and my friends had driven 2 hours out from where we live to this hospital just to have coffee with me, just to show their support. We hung out for like 15-20 minutes, and then they left. So they drove 2 hours there, 2 hours back, just to support me. And that was truly one of the miracles already that I received, was the support that I had, and the love that I received from other people, and the way that people showed up for us, and the gifts that people sent, and the nurses that I knew who would just check in with me every day and try to the nurses that I knew personally that would try to explain to me what all of these things that the doctors were talking to me about actually meant, or what I might expect was going to come next. So that was one of the first miracles that was a part of this story. So again, I was getting really frustrated, and through that process though, I found myself letting go, and I found myself just kind of broken to the point that I stopped trying to control the situation. I stopped trying to tell the angels and God what to do, and I just said, I'm handing this to you, I'm trusting you. And what happened, I think probably it was a couple of days later, I was sitting in the bedroom with my Sawyer, with my son, and an angel came into the room. 2 angels actually came into the room, but one of them was in the front, and one of them sat down next to me on the couch and said, I want you to understand that from this point forward, things are going to get better, and he's going to be okay, and you need to just trust. And I can't tell you the feeling of peace that just washed over me to have this experience, and to actually see an angel, and to actually have this message be brought to me. But what was even more miraculous is that after they left, and I had this sense of peace and calm, and I wanted to share this with Sawyer, so I went over to his hospital bed and I sat down and I said, the angels came in, and I told them what they had said, and he looked at me and he said, I know, Mom. I saw them too. And it was just such a powerful moment to know that not only had I experienced this miracle, but he did too. And this was right before we went to bed. And the next morning, the doctor came in at, I think it was like 6:30 a.m. And he brought the labs in, and he said, Christy, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened, but something has happened, and his levels are starting to change, and he's starting to get better, and these levels look so much better, and they look so good, and it's moving in a good direction. And I can remember the excitement in his eyes, because it had been they were so different from the day before. And from that point forward, things got better and better and better. And within about a week from when we had that encounter with the angels, Sawyer was home with me in a situation where he could have had long-term kidney damage, in a situation where he could have had long-term heart damage. He had none. and he was completely free of having to do dialysis. He has had checkups since then. He is completely healed. He doesn't have to go back for a follow-up for another year, and it truly has been the greatest miracle of my life. And I share this story with all of you because I want you to, number one, believe in miracles and understand the great magic that exists out here in the world. But two, understand that miracles come, but they come in God's timing. And we have to trust, and we have to continue to put our trust and our faith. And number three, I want you to remember that the more that you pray for someone, and the more that you pray for yourself, and the more that you pray and you ask for help, and you ask for God to help other people, the more we are creating this miraculous energy, the more we are helping to co-create miracles. And there's nothing, in my opinion, more powerful than that. So that's my story. I hope that that connects for you. I hope that that resonates for you and helps you to begin to look for the magic all around you. I'm Christy Forsyth with Clarity by Christy. If you want to learn more about me or about Clarity by Christy, you can check me out at discoveryourawakening.com. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. It helps to support the channel, and you'll get I always mix this part up. And you will get notifications on any uploads that I share here on the channel. And I'm sharing all kinds of uploads on the channel these days. So make sure you do that. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your likes, your comments, everything on my videos. That also helps to support the channel, and it is so appreciated. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon with another